Welcome everybody to another brand new video where we are again working on a beautiful classic. I'm so lucky to work on all these fantastic cars. So let's go and have a look at it. It's a classic Volkswagen. It's the original Golf. It's the Mk1. So this one, it just looks awesome, doesn't it? It's had a full nut and bolt restoration. You look at the interior, just have a look at that. It's all been retrimmed, Recaros, matching front and back seats and door cards. That looks mega nice. And then the outside's been sprayed in Volkswagen Candy White. It's been lowered and it's sitting on some beautiful BBS split rims. Looks amazing. So I would show you under the bonnet, but that's probably job number 2 on our list. We've got no bonnet pull inside and the bonnet don't open. But it's got a 1.8 turbo, 20 valve engine in it, fully forged, producing 330 horsepower. Bet this thing goes like stink. As always, it's a car that Dream Car Giveaways own. I've got a fairly long list to do on it, but as soon as I'm done, I give it back to them and it's going to go up on their competition site. So hopefully one of you guys can win it. It's a mega nice car. Can't wait to get started. Can't wait to road test it. Hopefully we'll video that this time. So let's get on with job number 1. And the first job on the list is the door handles. So door handles, pretty important on every car going. It's good to actually be able to get into the car you're driving. And for the future winner of this gorgeous Golf, it's going to definitely be a must. So if you imagine he's cruising down his localised street, tunes going, spots a gorgeous girl on the side. He pulls up to her and he's like, "White love, fancy a ride in my Golf?" She's like, "Ooh, okay." She runs to the car, tries the handle, can't open the car. He gets annoyed, whacks it in the first, rips off. So that's definitely something we don't want happening to whoever wins this car. So let's sort these door handles out. There we go. Actually, let's start on the passenger side. So first of all, we need to see inside, so let's get that door card off. And then we can get our torch in and have a look. So by the feel of the handle, there's like, it feels like there's a lot of play, and then looking inside, I can see that white knobble thing that comes down from the handle that touches the latch. There's a fair bit of travel. We want to adjust that somehow, so pretty much it's permanently touching the catch. So let's pop that handle off and then, yeah, see if we can make something to go on the end of that. That'll give us the full travel of the handle, and then hopefully the doors will open. So let's get this handle off. I think it's just 2 Phillips screws. Where's my screwdriver? Sound. Let's get the door open. So you'll notice this trolley I'm using to hold the door open, that's going to be fault number 2 now, because there's no check strap on the door. You know, the check strap stops the door flying open and smacking the door against the wing. There's just nothing there, and it keeps shutting, so we've got to sort that in a minute. So let's put that there. So looking at this handle, that white knobble is actually a thread on a thread. Twisting it, yeah, goes closer, which is ace. So let's just wind that out as far as it goes and then fit it back on. If it works, get the door card back on, and then we'll have a look at these check straps. Let's put it back on. And there we go. Just a little bit of adjustment, a little tweak, and yeah, that's how we want it. And then our future winner can pull some real fit birds and they can actually get in the car. For the door check strap, I can actually see the check strap is still there. It's just the pin that goes through that little hole's missing. So that's an easy fix. I'll just lathe up a bit of aluminium and remake that pin, pop it in, and then that's all good too. The door ain't gonna fly open and smack into another car, or it's not gonna go too far and smack the wing. And yeah, that's 2 now ticked off our list. So the next on the list is the bonnet won't open. Okay, the bonnet does actually open. I did find out how to do it in the end. What it is, if you look right up the inside of this Volkswagen badge, you have to get your index finger through the middle of the V, and you have to push it in there, because I would try my little finger, but it's not strong enough. And you have to flick it across. There you go. And then your finger gets stuck and it's out. Not very pain-free way of showing off the engine, is it? So I think we should pop this grille off. Let's get the car up at a nice working height so we can stand up and see what we can do about it. Let's go. And there we go. That's much better. I can get to all the front nice and easy now. So the thought with this, the original bonnet pull was removed because obviously you have a great dirty cable coming across here, and that's not what you want. You want a clean engine bay, so there's nothing you can see, no wiring loom. You just got an engine in there. So ordered this last night off Amazon, universal bonnet pull. It's only 20 quid, ideal, and it's 6 foot long. I'm going to mount this on the inside. I'm going to run it through where the wiring loom comes through the bulkhead, and then across the top of the gearbox, round the side of the intercooler, and then fix it up to the catch. And then with that all done, hopefully, job's a good one. And the next on the list is the chrome. Chrome, I just don't like it on a classic car. It's all right on Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or something like that, but I always prefer a classic modern look where all the chrome's gone, it's just black. I mean, if you look at the front of this, it's something that just sticks out straight away, and it just doesn't look fierce enough for me. So it's time to get rid of it. I mean, chrome's a pain in the butt anyway. You always get scratches on it, watermarks like this bumper is, and also like, I mean, that trim's hanging off anyway, so I've got to do something with it. But yeah, we're going to start dechroming this Mark 1. So on this bumper, we're going to be super duper careful taking it off the car so we don't scratch it, and then we're just going to lay it down on the trestle. Stripping the bumper, we're going to take the indicators out, and then the little caps on the end, they just push off. And then that center rubber bit that's pretty loose anyway, that just peels up. Looks like it was just double-sided taped on. Once that's all off, we can give it a thorough clean. I'm going to use brake cleaner. We need to get all the grease and all the dirt off this. It's worth doing a proper job now, because if we don't get it all, this wrap's just going to fall off. So this wrap, I'm going to do it in 2 halves. I'm going to do it top section and then the bottom section. It's awesome stuff to use. So it's a tiny bit sticky when you first get it out of the wrapper. It means you can play with it, you can peel it back off, you can move it about. It's not until you push down with your fingers or with the little squeegee thing, that's when the glue activates, mixes with the air, and goes super duper sticky. So once all the creases are out, a nice real firm press across it, and then it's stuck for good. So that's the top side done. Gonna just do the bottom side now, put that on nice and carefully, and then we're into sticking that center rubber piece back on. Instead of double-sided tape, I'm using windscreen bond. So we put the primer down first, blob some little bits of bond on that rubber, and then stick it back on. Indicators back in, and then our bumper's all done. And job's a good one. Bumper's done. I've also done the grille, the badge, the door handles, and the back bumper. To me, I think it looks much better. At least I've wrapped it, so then if the winning person of this car doesn't like it, they can peel it off. I've done it in the 2 halves, so you don't have to take that middle rubber out. I can already visualize the comment section of the video going nuts about how can you black out a chrome bumper Mark 1 Golf, but I just prefer it this way. So that's all done, looks much meaner. It's on with the next job, which is the fuel system. So the fuel problems we're going to fix on this Mark 1 Golf mainly lie in the boot. So let's open the boot and get the carpet out, and I'll show you what I mean. In here, we've got copper, which is quite flexible, fuel lines coming through from in the front somewhere. None of them are clipped. Then it comes round to the fuel pump, which can rock back and forward, so the power to the pump can pretty much nearly touch the boot floor, which is no good. Then we continue with our copper fuel pipes going round the back panel, which again are loose, and we can see the feed to that fuel pump is miles too long. And then we come to the part that I find is a bit dangerous. We've got a fuel swill pot in here. Now, a swill pot, ideal on a track day car, a rally car, drift car, where you're doing lots of lefts and rights. The fuel, especially in this Mk1 Golf, the fuel tank is very thin but wide, so the fuel sloshing about, you're going to get a bit of fuel starvation if you let that tank go under a quarter of a tank. So what happens is the fuel comes up to that swill pot, fills that up, and then you've got a permanent fuel supply even if the fuel gets low in the tank. Now, this ain't a track day car. It's got no roll cage, it's got no harnesses. You know, it's rarely going to be used on a track. If I won it, I wouldn't do that. Most accidents on the road are either you run out of talent, you're going too fast, you smash the front into the back of somebody else, or you're sat there minding your own business, somebody's not paying attention, they smash straight into the back of you. Now the swill pot there, which is only held in by 2 self-tapping screws, and it's loose, is right next to a battery, and it's got copper fuel pipes. Rear end smash, that knocks into the battery, sparks from the battery ignite the fuel. In this Golf, you've got no bulkhead, rear bulkhead barrier to protect the passengers from a flaming inferno. You know, you've just got the foam of that rear seat. To me, I don't like it at all, and it's something I'm just going to get rid of. You don't need a swill pot. If you keep it above half a tank and you go on the track, you'll be fine. So we're going to get rid of all this crap in the boot, sort the wiring out as well, and I've just noticed one of these wires says washer pump, so, and it's not connected to anything, so that's a further job we've got to do. It's obviously got no washer pump in there. It's going to be a long job. I'm going to get all the interior out, carpet back, just to see where those fuel pipes, them copper fuel pipes go, because I just want to get rid of everything. I don't like fuel inside a car with passengers. So let's switch to the interior fully being removed. And then with the seats and carpet out, I can see exactly where these fuel pipes run. Again, not clipped, just all loose. It's just not great. Under this hatch is the tank, this is fuel tank inspection hatch. So that's where the sender and pump is. So that pump pumps through there to the swill pot. The swill pot then goes to that pump, and then that goes to the engine. So what I'm going to do, get rid of all this terrible stuff, because let's be honest, it's real bad, and it run the fuel pipes from that tank underneath. It's going to go a longer route, but it's going to go underneath, across, and then I'll mount that fuel pump underneath as well. Then it will come back down. Just getting rid of that swill pot and all this fire hazard. It's shocking. I'll sort the wiring out while I'm there in the boot, and obviously have a clean round because the wires are a mess as well. This is obviously the fuel pump wiring loom. Just, yeah, so this is why dream car giveaways send the car to me before they do them on the competition site. So nice people don't get this to deal with once they've won a beautiful car. So I won't bore you with this. I'll just crack on and get it all done. See you in about a day or two. So it didn't take that long really. Managed to remove all this stuff out the car and make it a lot safer. I mean, you look at this pipe, that's probably 12 foot long of super soft copper. I'll show you inside. Let's have a look. And there we go. It's a lot nicer on the eye, not having all this crap around here. It's a lot cleaner because I've given it a wipe, and most of all, it's a lot safer. So the future winner of this Golf can drive around happy in the fact that there's no fuel system in here with him while he's driving. Again, cars that have got fuel tanks in the boot, it's all right if you've got a metal firewall, But on this, yeah, the seats are the only thing that's saving you, which ain't gonna last long in a fire. So that's all done. Other jobs on the Golf I've got to do are, I put the interior back in and removed all those wires out the boots, and now when you open that boot, it looks lovely. It's clean and tidy, there's no crap coming round the sides, looks how it should. Also, I ran the washer pipe front to back and mounted our washer bottle in the back and wired it all up. It works as it should, and that's another job done. Next up was the horn not working. I've found the horn, as you can see, very secure, I don't think. It was full of water, all the terminals were corroded, so I replaced that and the terminals. Then it still didn't work, so I found the wiring inside the steering boss was broken, so I popped the steering wheel off and soldered all the wires back onto the horn button. Put that back on, it still didn't work, and what I found was the steering rack on this had to be earthed to the body, which it wasn't. So I made a little earth, bolted it on, and then it worked perfect. Next up, having a check around the cars, I noticed that the rear wheel bearings, they do have a bit of play in these anyway, but both rears were really excessive. So I was stripping it all down anyway to clean the brakes up because the brakes aren't very good. Whipped it apart, greased them up, put it back together, and that's another job done. Then I noticed underneath the gear change cables, the gear stick comes down to this box under here, and then you've got two gear change cables coming off it, one either side the exhaust, and as you can see, both sides were permanently touching that downpipe. Now these downpipes get to 600 degrees, it shouldn't be touching. So you can see just above the steering rack, there's a nice little hole there where we can tuck them gear change cables through. So I undid them, the gearbox end, pulled them down, and then threaded them up through that hole. Once they were up there and rerouted correctly, loads of room in between them change cables. It's another fire risk waiting to happen that we've caught early and sorted. Then I noticed the radio wouldn't turn off when you take the key out, so I thought the ignition on line was not in the back of the radio, so I popped the radio out to find this. Twisted, sellotaped together wiring. I mean, this is shocking. Also notice that there's no normal aerial or DAB aerial connected to the radio. So I got one of those again from Amazon, fit it on, sorted that horrendous wiring out, and then that works too. It's another fire risk from behind the dash that we've sorted. I mean, holy smoke, did you see the state of that radio wiring loom? I couldn't believe it. While I was filming it, I was playing with the wires, and you can see here the live going into the radio is not insulated, and that little one wire that's sticking up just touched the speaker earth, and there we go, got smoke. That's how easy it is to lose a classic car like this in a fire. Other stuff I've done on the car, it did have some nasty little gauges across the center console. They weren't even wired in and didn't work. And because it's got a mappable ECU, it's got an output to run an iPad. So now when you start it up, you've got your tablet there in the middle, shows all the gauges, revs, throttle, coolant temp, lambda, everything going, and that looks proper cool. So I've road tested it, now it's safe. This thing is a complete weapon. It flies and it sounds amazing. It's going to go back to Dream Car giveaways now. It's going to then go on to the body shop to do some touch-ups, no doubt during the video you've seen. A couple of little bits that need doing on it. And then they've promised me they're going to do a road test video on it because they need to, because it just sounds amazing. So if they do, the link, as always, is going to be up here. So that's it from me. I've got to crack on with the Corsa now. And if you come into the NEC in Birmingham in a few weeks' time in November, I'll see you there. But for me, for now, see you on the next one. Ta-da!